On Man United, we're obviously linked to Ugarte. Sanderberg. If we end up with Sander, what do you got as rivals? I want to get your opinions. We've been told that we could end up with Sanderberg. What's your opinions on that, gentlemen? Is that a good, bad, or an indifferent signing?
Signing a man who got relegated twice in the Premier League to hold down Manchester United's midfield. I mean, I thought we were in a new era. He's injury prone as well, so you can't even rely on him. He loves getting injured. My club were linked with him for 4 years and we never wanted him. I don't know how we can possibly get a move to United. The only upgrade he is on Casemiro is he's not as slow. He can move around the pitch better. Doesn't mean he's better than him. You're not upgrading necessarily on Casemiro. It's a sideways move. It doesn't make sense. Like, go big. DM is a position that you can't afford to fuck up. Every top side knows that. Because if your DM is crap, the rest of your team structure pretty much falls apart. So why are you trying to cheap out on the DM now and go for a lad who couldn't hack it at Burnley and Sheffield United? Like, what's the vision? What have Manchester United seen that every other club hasn't? Because I'm eager to know that.
Yeah, I don't think he'll end up at United. I think United will go back.
Come on, Henry, twerk for us. Let's go. Hey!
This can't be a surely an in-year signing. The guy is, like Tom said, he's been relegated twice. He's what, 25, 26? I think he is. 26. He's had 50 appearances for Norway. He's okay. I'd expect this sign like Ipswich to go and sign him, or maybe a Palace. But Man United, I mean, to go from Ugarte to Sanderberg is a bit of a kick in the teeth. I think they'll go in for someone else, or they'll negotiate with with PSG to lower Ugarte's price. I think it's somewhat better for Man United because Sanderberg just sounds like a Glazer signing or going and overpaying from Ugarte. It's something the Glazers have done year on year on year. So I think they are changing the way they operate, but they still need 2 more signings coming. I think De Ligt and Missouri, I think they'll both get over the line eventually. But like Tom said, if you haven't got a solid DM, we've seen it at Spurs, not to turn the conversation to Tottenham, but we haven't got an out-and-out DM, and we've got, a bagel midfield. That's how big the hole can be at times. So United do need to get this one sorted, especially with Europa League as well. Like, rotation is going to be key. All these, you got a relatively good attack and a good defense, but that DM spot, I think, is alarming. If Sanderberg is the guy, then that's a big red flag.
It makes no sense to me either. I don't know how much they're quoting the price will be for him, but like when you see Fofana, go on, let me know. So before I carry on, how much they're saying?
Well, he's got 3 years left on his contract, so
25 mil, 30 mil, something like that.
So why not get Fofana? Why not get that Yusuf Fofana from? Like, surely
they are
that
looking
makes
at
more
him.
sense. They are looking at him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I can't understand it. I really can't. I don't think that. I think that might be just something that's getting chucked out there. Maybe to make PSG think maybe we'll lower our thing because they're looking elsewhere. It just does not make sense with even the signings that Man United have made so far and are linked to. He just seems weird. Like, he just does not seem like someone they'd be going for. So I'd be surprised if Man United sign him. Will he be good? Listen, you've seen crazier things happen. People have gone into clubs and that you think they ain't going to do nothing, and they end up being quite a solid player, just like a steady Eddie sort of player. But I just don't think where Man United are right now.
But that's where I see a Sanderberg. I'm not enthused by it at all. I'm not like, wow, this is going to improve us.
Yeah, it's not an oh my god, is it?
No, it's not an oh my god at all. It's not. What I would say is it's a good. It would be a good sign if we went and got De Ligt, Mazwari, we got Ugarte over the line, and then you added someone like a Sanderberg to the squad. Then I'm more comfortable with it because I'd say decent. He's decent technically. I know he's got his injury concerns. I would probably be more comfortable with that. But him being sort of the main new midfielder we bring in is crazy. Obviously got a really good talented youngster in Collier. who I want to see given game time next year as an example. I really do think what slowed our situation down is the players exiting and leaving. I do. And as much as there's legacy issues and as much as I'm frustrated, I'm certainly not doing what I've seen some people do online and kick off at the Ineos already. I think that's far too premature. I've seen a lot of clubs struggle to sell this summer. And I'm not talking about selling a quality player like a what's his name? Julian Alvarez. Because if we wanted to sell one of our good players, that get done easy. We put Bruno Fernandes up for sale, snapped up. We put Lissandro up for sale, snapped up. You know, if we were to go and put Mainu up for sale, he'd have been sold in an hour. He'd be sold so quickly. But we're trying to sell players that the same Man United fans crying will tell you are the worst players they've ever seen in a Man United kit. In fact, some football fans don't even think they're Premier League level. Yeah, of course, Woodward and Co. in their wisdom have made them some of the best played players in their category of Premier League players. So it's even harder to find them a club that's going to take them. And this is why, and I don't think sometimes people look beyond buzzword statements of it's going to take 2 or 3 years to fix this. I've heard like United ex-pros say it's a 2 or 3 year process to fix this. And I've heard them talk today on the overlap going, I'm not excited. Nothing really impresses me. I wish I'd have done more. What did you think this 2 or 3 years was doing? Teaching a style of fucking play, you idiot. The style of play doesn't take 2 or 3 years. It takes 2 or 3 years to undo all these issues and build a squad good enough to win because you were never going to fix all these problems straight away. So, yeah, I hope listen, I genuinely hope that Sander Berge is not out. I mean, I just can't imagine when you've been linked to Ugarte. We've definitely looked at Zubimendi, but I think he said no to us. You know, I don't think you're looking at those players and then you go, do you know what? Sander Berge. It's like going out and going, I'm going to look at a BMW M4. I'm going to go out and look at cars. I'm going to look at this Audi. I'm going to look at, do you know what's a good backup though? 1998 Ford Mondeo. You just wouldn't do it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Punto.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Hawaii special edition with a red door. Do you know what I mean? It's just at the end of the day, yeah. Big up KJ. We made him watch a bit of that when we were away. But yeah,
I do agree, man. I do agree. I think the signing itself, when you look at the name, and it's not the most exciting transfer. Obviously, you can't really write him off because he could come in and then all of a sudden, bang, just hit the ground running. Do you know what I mean? He could be a good player for them. So you can't really write it off, but it isn't the most enthusiastic signing. It isn't something that really gets the Man United fans jumping out of their seat. Oh my God, look at this. Look at who signed Sander Berge. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just not one of those signings. And I really feel like they need to focus on getting like starters that are ready to come in and, you know, come in and play for them and start for them. I don't think this guy starts for Manchester United. I genuinely don't at the moment.
With Missouri,
I think you got
and the other two though, it's been a good window for United. Like overall, I think if they get De Ligt, Missouri, maybe let's say Ugarte, I think a lot of United fans
that would be a solid window. That would it. I don't know how many of them players would be part of the team that, you know, gets back to challenging for titles, but it would be a good building window where they patch a lot of holes up and provide good support and pieces for the main guys that they want to develop over the next 3 years. That's what United have to do now. They're not going to be, it's not smart, and they're not going to be signing the £100 million superstars of this world. They are doing the smart thing, which is correcting the issues in the squad. It's actually a smart footballing decision, which United haven't been making for a number of years. Now, do I necessarily agree with the players that they're bringing in? No, I think you can do better than Matthias de Ligt. I've never really liked de Ligt. I think that there is an error in him. But if you can somehow get him back, you know, I know Ten Hag was a manager back at Ajax. If you can somehow get him back to a player of that ilk that was at Ajax, I think you might be able to make that work. So United's business has been solid, if not a little bit slow, but still solid. Does it suddenly put them back into contention with Arsenal and City? No. And the one thing that United fans need to understand is 3 years is a rough estimate. It could take closer to 4 or 5, depending on the fact that other teams don't just sit there during transfer windows, twiddling their thumbs, allowing Manchester United to strengthen on them. Other teams are doing business too that makes them stronger. So it's not going to be a sudden return for United.
I agree. I want to call something out though about De Ligt. I didn't know this because I was sucking in. Most of us would, if you heard somebody say, "Why do you want De Ligt?" when Eric Dyer was playing ahead of him last year, you'd all probably agree to it to a certain extent, right? Because that's kind of what we saw. Well, I got sent this today. Matthias de Ligt started 13 of Bayern Munich's final 18 matches. He was suspended and injured for a couple of them. Dyer only started 2 games ahead of de Ligt after he signed. He goes, it is such poor punditry and journalism to convince people that he was starting over him on a regular basis. No, I didn't know that because, I didn't watch them religiously last year in that way. But I also feel like sometimes it's important to do your research when you hear things like that, because that was one of my worries about de Ligt was very much, oh God, Eric Dyer was starting over him. Turns out it was only on a couple of occasions.
It was, I think, one of the games was the Arsenal game in the Champions League. And I think they actually played together.
I know he played one of them. Yeah, I think he played one of them, yeah.